Hi and welcome back to my stitching session. I've got quite a bit of progress done in the last couple of days with my Bewitched, and I'm just trying to finish or maybe get to about 80% of my pattern. I'm currently at about 73%, and I'm just going to carry on stitching a little bit up here today. It's just a 10 by 10 square, but just inside that 10 by 10 square there's a lot of different colours, so it's usually quite a lot of faffing around trying to park as well as rethread the right colour on the needle. So I find it can be a little tricky. Some of these colours look very similar, like I have a very dark blue and a black here, which is almost lethal. Unless you're sitting right next to a window, it's almost impossible to tell whether it is black or dark blue. Well, more like a navy blue, and it's just something you have to be really careful with. For the most part, I'm generally quite quick at threading my needle. It takes me usually less than a second, and that's because I'm using a very large needle indeed, so it does actually help. When you get past doing these confetti areas, it becomes such a relief to get to the point where you can just go on ahead a little bit, and it kind of gives you a break from having to concentrate so much. Now I'm coming to another loop start, and I do have a thread in here which I didn't think I did, and I was just about to start again with another loop start. This square is going to conclude my session of stitching on Bewitched today, because I'm going to get on with my dimensions project, which I haven't picked up for quite a while, and I want to see some progress there as well. So do you have multiple projects on the go, or do you like to just finish one at a time? Surprising how many people are actually doing multiple heaven and earth designs, considering that they actually take so long to complete. I would have thought now that it would have been easier to just finish one at a time, but it seems like a lot of people really want to have a variety. I'm not quite sure why that is. Perhaps they find it more interesting to switch and rotate. I expect that it's easy to get bored of the same pattern, especially when it's going to take years, as they do, to complete. Now I'm actually doing this at an angle, so I'm surprised that it's going as well as it is. You know, sometimes you're just not in the mood for doing these single stitches and lots of confetti. Sometimes you just want to crack on with something. I think that's probably another one of the reasons why people choose to do fairly different designs, because they do actually give you variation. There is nothing worse than having to frog your stitching when you're using threads on such tiny holes, because I can barely see them once they're in. So frogging is not a pastime I want to undertake. This is one of the reasons why I do actually go quite carefully. Here I'm doing another loop start. I'm using a tiny little piece of thread, because if I've only got a couple of stitches to do in this box, I don't really see the point of having loads of very long threads for just one stitch or two. And I just hope I've got that right, because as I've mentioned in other videos, when you're parking in the wrong place can really do your head in. Once you have all your park threads here, it's really easy to just select the thread you want and to be on the move. It's kind of like if you had to keep threading your needle, it would be kind of like a traffic jam. You would never seem to be moving forward because you're always either fastening off or rethreading your needle. So now I have to park. That's one stitch. I have to remember my first stitch is actually on the grey line. 1, 2, 3, down. Yeah, there we go. So you get into the swing of it and the flow goes nicely. I really love the colours in this pattern. I think it's something quite special, and I think the resolution is very good and it looks good in a mini, which is one of the things I hadn't expected with something that has such nice little details. So I'm quite happy with this one overall. So I'll see you again in my next stitching session, and thanks for watching and take care.